The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 1986 Revisited, a deep dive into a polarizing horror sequel. Few horror sequels have sparked as much debate and divided opinion as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which hit theaters on August 22, 1986, 12 years after the groundbreaking original. While it didn't exactly set the box office on fire and received a mixed critical reception at the time, it has since carved out a passionate cult following. But here's where it gets controversial. This installment is arguably the most contentious in the entire franchise, even more so than Part 4. Personally, it's the only film in the series where my feelings have swung back and forth over time. The key to appreciating it lies in perspective. Directed by Tobe Hooper, the mastermind behind the original, this sequel was born out of a unique creative arrangement. Hooper was given the reins as director as part of a deal to secure funding for his passion projects. And the film was produced by one of the most eccentric studios in cinema history. What's truly surprising, and this is the part most people miss, is how the movie boldly blends horror with overt comedy, a tonal shift that caught many off guard. It's not subtle. The humor is front and center, which is a stark departure from the relentless terror of the first film. We've already explored the wild, behind-the-scenes chaos that shaped this unusual sequel. But now, let's unpack what makes the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 such a singular experience on screen. A quick backstory. Why this sequel matters. Understanding the film's background is crucial. Initially, Hooper was slated only to produce the sequel, wrapping up a 3-film deal with Cannon Films. However, the studio couldn't afford a director he felt was right for the project, so Hooper stepped in himself. This deal also gave us other cult gems like Life Force, 1985, and the Invaders from Mars remake, 1986. While Hooper is best remembered for the first 2 Texas Chainsaw movies and Poltergeist, his career is dotted with quirky, entertaining one-offs. For example, The Mangler holds a special place for many horror fans, and his entire filmography is worth exploring. This sequel also introduced us to Bill Moseley, who became a horror icon thanks to his role as Chop Top. Moseley's journey to this film is a story in itself. He impressed Hooper with a short parody film, earning a promise of a role in any future sequel. And thank goodness for that, because Chop Top remains one of the most memorable characters in horror history. What to expect? A sequel that defies expectations. The plot is straightforward. The Sawyer family is back, and they're as deadly as ever. The opening crawl even announces it as a sequel, though it's a shame John Larroquette didn't return to narrate. What neither the studio nor audiences in 1986 anticipated was that instead of a pure horror thriller, they'd get a black comedy. If you watch the trailer, it actually gives you a pretty clear heads up. In just over a minute, it flashes a silhouette of a chainsaw and a montage of intense, out-of-context scenes that hint at the film's tone. The marketing was clever too. The poster parodies The Breakfast Club, a bold move that still stands as one of the most iconic horror movie posters ever. Yet, despite these hints, many viewers were unprepared for the film's blend of gore and humor. I'll admit, I absolutely hated this movie the first time I saw it during my early horror fandom days. But revisiting it for this review, I found myself falling in love with it. Why? Because the atmosphere, effects, sets, music, and sound design are all top-notch. The horror moments, including one of the best jump scares ever filmed, and the characters elevate the film to a unique status. The ambiance, a stylish, grimy visual feast. Let's talk about the film's style. It's gritty and grimy, yet undeniably cool. The use of color is fascinating. At times, it channels the vibrant, stylized lighting of giallo films, reminiscent of From Beyond, while embracing an unmistakably 80s aesthetic. This creates a striking contrast, showing how a horror movie can be both colorful and unsettling simultaneously. Scenes often balance between darkness and brightness, sometimes within the same moment. The underground slaughterhouse, or slaughter pyramid, is a standout set piece. It feels both vast and labyrinthine, yet claustrophobic and suffocating. I've mentioned this before in my Hellbound Hellraiser 2 review, but imagine this film as a horror maze game, wandering through Stretch and Lefty's radio station, then getting lost in the underground bunker filled with bodies and sawyers. Despite a modest budget of under $5 million, the set design is impressive, especially considering the film mostly unfolds in just a few locations. Gore and effects, Tom Savini's mastery on display. The sheer number of bodies in the underground lair is both horrifying and visually striking. From the gruesome opening kill featuring a grotesque body Leatherface uses as a weapon to the brutal demise of LG, which includes a savage beating and face skinning. The effects are expertly crafted. These moments make the film stand out even more than it might have under a different director. Sadly, budget cuts forced the removal of some of Savini's planned effects, which is a shame. Still, this sequel boasts the best gore and effects of the original 4 films, including the iconic chainsaw itself. Another key element contributing to the film's vibe is the radio station setting. The soundtrack is fantastic, blending diegetic music that characters hear, with a compelling score. Interestingly, it wasn't until this viewing that I realized Tobe Hooper himself is credited as one of the composers, a testament to his hands-on approach. Characters, a mixed bag with some true standouts. All the style and effects in the world wouldn't matter if the characters fell flat. While not every character shines, even the annoying or dumb ones serve a purpose. For example, the yuppies at the beginning are deliberately irritating, making their grisly fate feel satisfying and cathartic. Their brief screen time is effective in setting the tone. Dennis Hopper's character, Lefty, is more complicated. He's meant to be a meaningful figure seeking revenge for the original film's victims, Sally and Franklin. However, his erratic behavior and sometimes irritating antics make him feel wasted. A scene where he comically selects multiple chainsaws is so absurd, it's funny, but overall, his role doesn't deliver the emotional weight it aims for. Even when he discovers Franklin's remains in a wheelchair, a visually striking moment that falls flat emotionally. On the flip side, 2 characters have become horror legends. Caroline Williams' Stretch and Bill Moseley's Chop Top. These 2 steal the spotlight from their co-stars. This isn't to downplay Leatherface, who walks the fine line between horror and humor better than anyone else in the film, but he's not the central figure here. Gunnar Hansen, the original Leatherface, was reportedly set to return, but didn't due to conflicting stories. Given the sequel's tone, his portrayal might not have fit. Caroline Williams' Stretch is a revelation, a stunning and fiercely capable final girl. She perfectly balances vulnerability and strength, making her character feel authentic and relatable, as much as a horror heroine can be. Chop Top, meanwhile, is charismatic, hilarious, and terrifying all at once. His unsettling confidence and grotesque habit of eating the skin off his metal plate-covered scalp make him more frightening than Leatherface in this film. His relentless pursuit of Stretch in the climax is genuinely chilling, reminiscent of the intense stalking scenes in Ari Aster's films. Moseley created a character who never returned in the series, but remains unforgettable. Horror and comedy, a delicate, sometimes uneasy balance. Screenwriter L.M. Kit Carson crafted a pitch-perfect black comedy. But the film also delivers genuine scares, including one of the most effective jump scares in horror history. Carson, who has only a handful of credits and no other horror films to his name, provided enough material for Hooper, an expert in fear, to bring the fright to life. The horror isn't constant or dominant, but when it appears, it makes a strong impact. The opening sequence is a prime example. While it's satisfying to see the obnoxious yuppies meet their end, the scene is genuinely terrifying. The sinister truck, the stitched-together corpse atop Leatherface, and the partial decapitation all create a chilling atmosphere. Later, the film features intense chases, with Stretch fleeing from both Leatherface wielding a menacing chainsaw and Chop Top moving with spider-like agility. The radio station scene, a masterclass in building tension. One of the film's most memorable and initially frustrating sections is the extended radio station sequence. At first, I found the pacing slow, but now I see it as a brilliant exercise in suspense. Even if you haven't seen the movie before, the time spent here signals that something big is coming. Stretch plays a tape of the opening kill, which acts like a siren call for the Sawyers. While the chainsaw to the legs moment and LG's brutal beating are standout scenes, the slow burn tension in this sequence is the real highlight. Stretch descends to find Chop Top acting like a creepy fan, casually eating his spalp with a coat hanger and lighter. You expect an immediate attack, but the scene's slow, creeping camera work draws your attention to a dark room behind them. When the light flicks on, it delivers one of the most earned and terrifying jump scares ever. No cheap tricks, just pure horror on par with The Exorcist 3. Final thoughts. A sequel worth revisiting. This latest viewing of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 left me genuinely pleased. Did I miss these nuances the first time? Or has the film simply aged like a fine wine? Either way, it's absolutely worth revisiting, especially in the stunning 4K restoration from Vinegar Syndrome, which offers a beautiful transfer and a treasure trove of special features. What do you think? Has your opinion of this divisive sequel changed over time? Do you agree that its blend of horror and comedy works? Or do you feel it undermines the franchise's legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm eager to hear your take. And stay tuned, because next up, I'll be diving into part 3 to decide if the chainsaw should stay in the family. For more horror deep dives, check out the previous episodes of Revisited below. And don't forget to visit the Joe Blow Horror Originals channel on YouTube for more content. And hit subscribe while you're there.